I don't know if it's a tariff situation or whatever the case is, but you can't get SHEGLAM makeup anymore in the US. Miss Anastasia Beverly Hills. As a Sephora employee, I'm telling you now, this ain't it. I love ABH. These last few releases, not so much. Anastasia replies to her,
Oh my God.
I have moved on to other things where there's no product from Anastasia that I have to still have.
I literally looked at myself and said, oh. Then I had to go on this side and I said, how am I going to do it? I drew the line, immediately looked up.
You may not realize that you're judged by the way that you look. Today, you can brush your way to sheer beauty. Let me show you how.
You rang, baby. Oh my God. God, it is my lot. I moved to a good block. Hot neighbors.
I can't get any fucking work done around here.
I know, girl.
I'm trying to look for you and you're outside just strutting your shit all the time. God bless. I love this country, man. I love it.
God bless America.
I love it.
It's the one silver lining we have right now in this country is,
It's just your hot neighbors.
Hot neighbor, girl. I mean.
Neighbors.
Neighbor. The Swan.
The Swan. The
Girl,
neighbor.
The neighbor.
Oh my
hot
God.
Neighbors.
No, but if I had to pick one, it would be
the other neighbor.
Miss Girl Next Door.
Yeah, girl. I know.
They need to compete for my love.
Absolutely. Girl.
Fight to the death in the streets.
Completely.
Joust on motorcycles. I don't know. I don't know.
Completely. Oh my God.
No, it's really fucking crazy.
I know. May God bless you all with hot neighbors. Welcome back to another episode of Beautiful and Bothered. Today's been a day. Neither of our makeup is cooperating. So we figured, learning moment, we've all had those days when like you're just trying to like
everybody has those days.
What's that from?
Everybody acts that Hannah Montana, yes. I was like, yes.
Yeah. Casey yelled it from outside. Just when you're trying to like put spackle over sandpaper and it's crumbling and whatever. So on today's episode, we are gonna honestly just like hot topics. We like
I'm talking about things crumbling,
girl. Some brand stuff, and then just makeup fails, etc. So on Patreon, that's how I found out about it. One of our lovely Patreon subscribers commented on this week's after show saying she wanted to reorder the SHEGLAM stick foundation because it's like her favorite thing.
What are you chances down your face?
Girl.
It's down your face. Oh my God.
Let's acknowledge
just leave it. Just
Girl,
leave it. Just leave it.
This is part of my makeup fail. We're going to leave this gem hanging down here. And
it's not supposed to be there.
No, it isn't. So you know what we're doing? Get little sunglasses. Little sunglasses in the studio today. SHEGLAM stick foundation. And they were like, what is going on with SHEGLAM? I'm going to reorder my stick foundation. It's my favorite and I can't. And I go online at first and I go to SHEGLAM.com. I look and I can see all the makeup. And then it's a switch to the US website and I do, and it's all hair. This is my hair. And I'm like, what? It's only SHEGLAM hair that launched like a couple months ago. And I'm like, no. So I back out, go back into the website and I start, and you could change the currency. So I was like, oh, that's the problem. I changed it to US dollar, added it to the cart. Then I go to check out and it says like, pick your country, and US, America is not on the list. And I think, and now I was like researching, going down the rabbit hole. I don't know if it's a tariff situation or whatever the case is, but you can't get SHEGLAM makeup anymore in the US.
I forget because I remember seeing a post on social media from SHEGLAM and it was like going around and it was alluding to the fact that they had to stop.
Yeah.
There were certain collections that were like not available in certain countries. And then all of a sudden they said that the makeup won't be available in the US for like a temporary amount of time. But that was quite a bit ago.
Yeah.
That I saw that was like at least a month ago, if not longer.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, that's kind of weird. But I feel like there is something going on there.
It's got to be something.
They probably can't sell
politically or economically or something.
Yeah, there has to be something where it's costing them more money because the cost of their goods is lower. So I bet you they had to either pay something that was astronomical to even get such a cheap good here.
Yeah,
that it wasn't going to be. They were going to be losing money if they sold to the U.S.
with the tariffs. They might have had to like double prices or whatever. Like, which who knows if they wanted to do that and then But
I mean, whatever. Then we'll just find dupes of the products that we like. But that
because there is some stuff left on Amazon. But
that it's probably inventory that's already in the warehouses.
Exactly.
For Amazon.
But it's like, there's literally, like, I was looking at the powder foundation because that's really what I was like, oh God, let me try to get another powder foundation. But there's only like 10 shades, like even with the stick and everything. Because if it's sold out, then it's like probably done. There's no more inventory.
Because what's actually, now that I'm thinking about it, do you know what kind of like has been crossing my mind lately about brands like overseas in the UK or China or wherever? The overseas?
Overseas?
Any PR that we would get normally from brands outside of the US.
Yeah.
Do you notice how it's not happening lately?
Yes, totally.
Because of
tariffs. And probably,
and any shipping costs that probably they're incurring to send PR to US influencers.
Yeah.
I think that's very interesting.
I know.
Because I've been thinking about it because there's things that I normally would get from certain brands and like I don't even know how I got on SHEGLAM's PR list.
Yeah.
But I would like get their stuff and I was like, oh, okay, like awesome.
I know.
Like that's great. I don't know how you got my address. Event. Yeah.
And I wish we knew someone, he still worked there, but he doesn't work for SHEGLAM anymore.
No,
but
he works for, I think he does his like own PR company now.
Yeah. I kind of wish we could like ask, but I might have another contact. I just kind of want to know, like, what's because it seems so peculiar to me that it's so, like, you would think that's a huge market for them, that there would be a pinned Instagram post explaining why.
And there's not?
Nothing. I can't find anything on their Instagram.
Because then they deleted that post then. That said, we have to stop selling in the US for right now, or like things are going to be scarce. And that's where something else is going on there. And then it makes me even think with the people that do work in the US for SHEGLAM that what is everyone getting laid off?
Exactly.
So now every one of those people that we met are like losing their jobs. And like, whether you like SHEGLAM, like the makeup or not, it's just like there were people that worked for this company in the US that were absolute angels. And I do feel for them.
Yeah.
I really do feel
and for
these
it to be
people.
So hush is weird.
And so abrupt.
Yeah.
That could you imagine like knowing probably behind the scenes that they knew something was kind of happening.
Yeah.
But if it was not enough of a notice and then people are panicking looking for a job.
Because
I can't imagine that they have a job right now.
No. And I feel like cosmetics, especially now, there can't be a lot of jobs. It's got to be, everyone has to be tightening things up because with tariffs, if things manufactured overseas, it's got to be more expensive as a whole to bring things over. Yeah. Just because of the cost of everything. So it's not like they're spending more money there. So I'm sure these companies far and wide aren't like hiring
and
new
keeping people on the payroll that are not able to perform a job.
Exactly. It's probably people who still work for a makeup company are probably scared of like maybe that they might even be like getting laid off or struggling or whatever because of like, I mean, just what happened with Elf needing to raise prices and everything. So it's very interesting.
Yeah, especially for any like, and then just thinking about like U.S. companies, like anybody that even you're bringing product in, you might not be able to pay like freelancers. And people that do work for your brand in the field. They're the first ones to go. Yeah.
We just kind of wanted to like tell you guys that because I didn't even realize like if you go to look for something to re-get it or whatever, you can't get it anymore as of right now. So if we get any tea on that or like the reason why actually from someone's mouth, we'll try to let you know. So
hopefully it doesn't happen to other brands.
I know. Today's episode is sponsored by Rocket Money. Casey and I are always looking for new shows because we binge things in 35 seconds. When the show is over, I cancel because streaming is basically turned into cable. Plus free trials I sign up for to watch one movie. And I can never remember what I currently have and what I don't currently have. And just found out I have been paying for a streaming service I thought I canceled about 4 months ago. $20 a month.
Not you paying into something you're not even using and watching.
Girl, story of my life. And I've heard about Rocket Money about 50,000 times, and I should have signed up for it months ago because let's just say in my life, I need everything everywhere all at once. I need it in one place to see it. And that's how I caught Miss Subscription Service coming up for literally, I think, since February. And I thought I canceled at the beginning of the year. Haven't watched anything in months.
And Rocket Money can even negotiate bills like your phone or internet so you don't have to deal with customer service. It is game changing.
I also love the budgeting tool. You can set a budget in seconds, see exactly where your money is going, and get alerts before charges hit or when your balance is low.
So take control of your finances today. Go to rocketmoney.com/beautiful-and-bothered or click the link in the description to get started for free.
A big thank you to Rocket Money for sponsoring today's episode and for catching that streaming charge. And then, Miss Anastasia Beverly Hills. They came out with bronzers, powder bronzers, very recently. I think they just launched.
8 shades, I think.
Gray on the side of my face, like, which honestly, when I saw like the photos, I wasn't even necessarily like mad because I'm like, oh wow, like they looked contoury. Like it's not like they were like dull, gross gray, but they looked more contoury than bronzers. And for them to call them bronzers was shocking because they were like cool,
They were
cool
all
tone.
very cool toned. Yeah.
And the darkest is not, again, like the gem has left the chat. Like,
yeah.
Oh, that was a different one. You know what?
That was the big one.
Girl, I'm taking them off. That.
No.
Not all of them. I would say it was like maybe a medium deep. Maybe was like the darkest shade. I mean, we have a picture up, so you'll see it.
And
but
I feel like the shades even swatched. The undertones were not
Pulling.
warm enough. If anybody bronzing, because keep that in mind, it needs to be darker or warmer. And if your contouring needs to be deeper than your tone,
yes.
But you expect people to be using that shade need to be lighter than that color
Yes.
to then put it on their cheek and it not look gray.
Yes.
And the undertones were gray on the arm swatches.
Yes.
Because I was like, oh, maybe that's just like a really weird photo that it's like throwing it off. Oh no.
So then on top of it, they get posted to Trend Mood, the bronzers.
Oh yeah.
And on the Trend Mood post, I wonder if I can find it. Underneath it, because it's that, and then they're also launching
an SPF
Hydra
primer.
Prime primer SPF 50. And
for $46.
Yeah, right. Actually, I think there's only 7 shades. And underneath someone said something along the lines of like, these photos seem grim, yada, yada. Like, why are they all so cool? Anastasia herself comments underneath the photo, the comment on the Trend Mood post going, these aren't our photos. These are the photos from the Sephora website. And these like aren't good photos. Like these aren't what the product looks like. Oh, and so everyone is like, okay. Like, so I feel like that also kind of revealed that, and girl, we've said it here before, Mr. Sephora, like the power Sephora has, imagine the grip, like around the necks, where it made it where I'm like, oh, she could be covering her ass. Or if you think about it, even think about some indie brand websites. There have been indie brands that I love that I go to the website and like if I had more time, I would want to like DM them and be like, please let me retake
because they're on their
photos.
Dining room table taking a flash photo of the product
on a disposable camera. And I'm like, girl, I could take better photos of these in any studio I have. Like, let me help you. So, but with Miss Sephora, I'm sure, same with Ulta, like it's all the same kind of photo. And I'm sure the big box store, so apparently they photograph the product or probably pick the images and edit the images and everything else. And
so it fits the website aesthetic.
Yeah. So she, Anastasia herself comments and goes, yeah, I know they look like shit, but this isn't what they look like. Like these are Sephora's photos.
Which, if that is the case, because I have been in the room where a campaign is being shot and funny enough, any photos that you see of models is taken by the brand usually, but any product photos is taken probably by Sephora or edited in that sense. Yeah. Because I don't think the brand submits photos. I think some might, but then I think they doctor the images and make them look better. And
they probably edit them. And
sure.
Yeah.
I get it. Or they take their own photos, which is such an interesting thought, because why wouldn't you, if you're basically trusting the brand to take photos for the gondola, like all the campaign images that are going to be blasted all over in store, why not? And online, when you scroll through the product, you see people using the products or whatever. Those are taken by the brand. So why wouldn't you trust the brand to take the product photo?
Because it probably too, because think about even with Sephora and Ulta, like when you go to the landing page, and this is like nerdy geek tech stuff, but if you guys have any experience with like editing,
belly button ring,
girl, dropping like flies,
Shakira.
If you guys have any experience with like photos or editing, etc., there's a thing called a PNG file, which means like if you click on an image of this makeup brush and I copy and paste it into Photoshop, there's going to be no background. So there's no white background, which is heaven for me when I'm editing, because like in our thumbnails and so on and so forth, I want just the product. All of Ulta's product photos are all PNG photos with no background. And every product has a little baby shadow that I end up like, very easy for me to get rid of this, but letting me know that every product Ulta sells, Ulta is taking the photos and uploading, adding the shadow, making them exactly the same and identical. So where Sephora, it's the same thing. They just have a white background. They're not PNG files. But you got to figure for branding and stuff, when you go to the Sephora website and Ulta website, there's always like, imagine during holiday or Mother's Day, pics for mom, and it's like a banner with like a pink background that says Mother's Day, and then it's products all over it. Imagine if you were erasing the background from 10 products you're recommending, and all of the lighting, the saturation, the color, and all the photos was different. So this is where Sephora and Ulta, because they basically, you're in their house, they own you, have to probably have everything be uniform, where the lighting is the same, the saturation's the same. Because I've learned that even doing this and YouTube and everything, when you make YouTube thumbnails and you're pulling product photos, or things can be so different in saturation, and you have to spend so much time changing everything. So Sephora and Ulta probably have to take all the product photos. Where a brand can do their marketing is in there, which probably then needs to be heavily approved by Sephora.
And probably that's where I can't wait to see how this turns out, because this campaign that I'm in, I can't wait to see how these photos get edited.
We only talked about that on Patreon. I don't think they know here.
Oh.
And you can talk about it? You just can't say what the product is.
I can't say what the product is, but I was in a campaign for JVN.
Miss Thing was in a photo shoot for an upcoming JVN from Jonathan Van Ness from Queer Eye, new launch for his hair care brand. And so you were in the photo shoot.
In the photo shoot in April. This product doesn't come out until fall. Yeah. So probably end of August, beginning of September, because fall launches in Sephora are always like August. I'm very curious to see how the images are doctored, because I want them to be.
Yes.
Because the photos looked raw images that day were lovely.
Yes.
But
it
was barely any cosmeceuticals. So I was like,
let's just say Kevin wasn't allowed to do his own makeup.
I wasn't. No. So I had
JVN did you do your hair though?
I know.
It was like super. Oh my God.
It was very cool. But I just, I wonder. I can't wait to see
how that goes through. Because JVN is in Sephora.
Yeah.
So that's fascinating.
I'm very curious to see how this all gets photographed.
How that turns out. Yes. I forgot I actually had. So you guys will see, but to tell you. So this is not the real life colors. They look this is Anastasia. They are so ashy in this picture. You have to see them in the stores. Shrug. They are gorgeous. Replying to someone, it seems, this is not our pictures. These are copy from Sephora website. So that's what she says about the bronzers. Then I maybe on Anastasia's Instagram page post the bronzers, which they look kind of the same. And even the girl who I saw the TikTok of this, she got them in PR, I guess, and swatched them. And she's like, they're a little warmer, but she was like, your complexion. And she said, she goes, but out of these 7, she's like, I could wear 5 of these. Like that shows how light they all are, like, and how similar. So someone then comments, I guess, on Anastasia's Instagram page under the bronzers. And this commenter, this girl is a woman of color. And she goes, as a Sephora employee, I'm telling you now, this ain't it. You need to know what the people in the store on the floor are thinking of your products. I love ABH, but these last few releases, not so much. I'm always here if you need a fresh perspective, with like a wave emoji and a heart. And a lot of the subtext of this was like calling out the shade ranges, because this was horrible. You came out with 4 contour shades, cream contour shades, and then even in the impeccable foundation, the lightest shade, I mean, the darkest shade was this.
Yeah.
So even Gloria called them out on the darkest shade, and look at that on her skin, and then look at the shade on the way it looked on the website. So was that Sephora too?
What's the truth? Because the campaign images are taken by the brand.
And that's the darkest contour on her chin. That was the darkest contour, like Diva. So that was the impeccable foundation too. So it was like one thing after another. So this Sephora employee comments this on Anastasia's page. Anastasia replies to her.
Oh my God.
With a shrug emoji. Who cares?
Oh my God. As a CEO and a founder, I'm a brand owner. I'm a brand founder.
As a brand owner and founder and CEO. A shrug. So,
a shrugging emoji saying, "Oh well."
A woman of color who works at Sephora is saying to you relatively nicely, she could have been bitchier, this isn't it. You've had 3 consecutive launches that were not even relatively inclusive. This ain't it. You need to know what people want. I'm here to help if you need an opinion. Fuck you. Who cares? What is going on? And I said it a few episodes ago. I think I said, and I quote, like it was Anastasia's giving Tarte with like, let them eat cake. Like, I don't give a shit.
They are quite literally turning into that because they think they're untouchable. I don't know what this
Miss Boots,
this air about these brand founders and owners that are still involved, that you think it's okay and just like it's just going to be accepted that you just come out with these abysmal shade ranges and it's whatever.
Yeah,
people will buy it, and if it doesn't fit you, don't buy it,
girl.
Like that's what you're saying.
Go to Sears. Try Sears.
We only carry
colors 1, 3,
fair,
and 5.
light, and medium. Try Sears.
Literally.
I don't know. There's something that's very strange about that in 2025, that we're launching things that we just are quite literally saying, if your color is not here, we're not making it, and we don't care.
Yeah.
What is that?
Girl.
And then to publicly shrug someone's comment, that's embarrassing. You're a disgrace.
To comment on it, like, and with a shrug.
Just don't comment. You had to search for that emoji. No, it's in her recently used. She commented on Trend Move.
Did it on the other one. Yeah, girl.
It's her new favorite emoji.
Whatever.
She said 2 hands, not giving you anything.
Not giving any fucks. Yeah. Are you enjoying Beautiful and Bothered? Not feeling so fresh? You should subscribe to the Beyond Bothered Patreon, where we'll freshen you right up. We will. We'll freshen your makeup up. If you guys like Beautiful and Bothered, whether you've been a fan since the beginning or you're new here, make sure to check out the Beyond Bothered Patreon. It's like a whole nother world over there, where you guys get after shows every single Wednesday of the month, where we talk about everything from Overflow from here. We open PR in real time. We talk about our first kiss.
We talk about everything that doesn't make it into the episodes that sometimes we want to talk about, but for time's sake, we can't.
Absolutely.
So when we talk about, when we get heated about our favorite TV shows that we're watching at the moment.
And let's just say maybe the tea's a little spicier every now and again, because we don't have to worry about the people we're talking shit about watching it. So there's that. So there's after shows every single Wednesday. And then the last Wednesday of the month is a full bonus episode. So full length bonus episode. And then with the beauty tier, you guys get all of the podcast stuff, plus beauty videos every single week with, at the end of the month, a full beauty tutorial, like over 2 hours, that that is anything from us doing new makeup to answering your questions about skincare and makeup and hair care in real time. It's just so beyond worth it over there.
Beyond worth it.
Beyond worth it. If you head over there right now, you will have enough content to last you probably 6 months.
All exclusive content. So this content gets posted nowhere else. This is just for you when you go into those tiers. So enjoy it.
So check out the link in the description box to head over to the Beyond Bothered Patreon and start having some fun, girl. Ooh. Anastasia too. Talk about a fall from grace. Like, because that is crazy.
Very inclusive. Yeah. With other things in the past, which made me sad because think about all the collaborators like Emreezy, Jackie Aina, and I mean,
which I do think it speaks volumes that both of those collaborations ended on bad terms with Emreezy and Jackie Aina both unfollowing the brand and like having beef.
Did they?
Yeah, girl.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So it was, in 2019 to 2020, Emreezy, so longtime collaborator, unfollowed ABH and publicly distanced herself after vague tension over credit, communication, and promotion of the highlighter she did. Wow. Then in 2020, Jackie Aina, ABH was criticized for failing to stand strongly with Black creators during racial justice protests during 2020. So I think the collaboration with Jackie Aina didn't go wrong, but then during that time, ABH didn't say anything while everything was going on in 2020, and Jackie Aina like criticized them, and the brand just didn't respond. Jackie Aina and prominent Black influencers and former collaborators unfollowed the brand and implied she felt undervalued and unsupported. This caused backlash and consumers demanded diversity and accountability. That was 5 years ago. 5 years ago, girl. And then ABH began to be seen as a brand embroiled in drama with influencers and lacking clarity in its leadership and direction because of that whole switcheroo. And Norvina, while creative, so Norvina is Anastasia's daughter, while creative, was also seen as impulsive and divisive on social media, further damaging the brand's perception. I wonder where she gets it from. Like, you know what I mean, girl?
I want to know what's being said behind closed doors because the two of them together, I can't even imagine what's being said.
Yes. Yeah, because some of my other notes, it was really just talking about, I mean, you go back to 2014, we talked about the Dip Brow Pomade was, global sensation, Modern Renaissance palette, the glow kits. And then in 2018 was Norvina, that was when she took over the brand, I believe, correct? Or was this right before when she launched the sub brand?
Yeah, because the sub brand happened to Norvina like Cosmetics. Okay. Was a completely separate brand from ABH. Yeah. Which was always weird because when I worked at Sephora looking at that, when we would look at like brand numbers for the day, it was completely separate from ABH. But it still had like the Anastasia thing on the back. Yeah. But she was creative director of Anastasia, I think then. Okay. And had this sub brand, which was like,
we were like, so then why not just do this with Anastasia? And so that was in 2018 to 2019. Norvina, her daughter, became president and launched bold artistry-driven palettes. Norvina's sub-brand aimed to target professional makeup artists and Gen Z creatives, but the rapid releases led to oversaturation and audience fatigue. They were very similar to each other, and it was a lot. And it was confusing because I remember even you and I think I bought one. I came into Sephora when you were working and bought one time, I think. One of the Norvina palettes.
I think, yeah.
Because that was 2018, 2019.
Yeah.
Then we're getting into past 2020, more of like the decline of them kind of falling from grace. Oversaturation and product confusion. Norvina palettes were released back to back with little differentiation. Consumers complained about palette fatigue, while many missed the brand's former elegance and precision of the modern Renaissance, the subculture. It had an aesthetic, it had a vibe, where that was just like the Urban Decay electric palette. Like, it was just like, bleh! Which I liked. It was this feeling of like, okay, this is fine that it's coming from her. But during those years, that's when I think ABH started to collect dust because she wasn't doing anything with ABH while being the president of ABH and focusing on her own little sub-brand.
You're trying to play on both teams, and how are you?
She had two families,
right?
Neglecting the first one
completely, and especially the award-winning moneymaker brand. I would say the more staple brand was losing its charm, if you will, and then we were just pumping out bright artistry launches, and then the pencils, and then the cake liners, and the lip balms, and the palettes, and it was the rainbow one in like the space black packaging. I think was the last one, if I'm not mistaken, and that was it. That was the last time. And then I remember it was, and I appreciated that it was a separate end cap from Anastasia, and it was away from the brand.
Yes,
it wasn't even near Anastasia in my location, so I was like, okay, but it's like
but I think people felt like because she was doing nothing at the same time with ABH and letting it kind of fall into disarray. And it's funny that you said that, because one of the bullets is literally the once curated brand image felt scattered and chaotic. So people felt like, well, I don't like this, because if this means I'm losing ABH, I don't want this. But if ABH was still doing what they always did and Norvina were coming out, it would have been a grown empire. But instead, you neglected all this to do this. So it felt weird. Yeah. And then another point, which is really, I didn't even think about it this way, is the fall of the Instagram brow. So the aesthetic ABH helped pioneer was the sharp brow, heavy glam, fell out of trend in favor of natural, fluffy brows and minimal beauty. Gen Z gravitated towards brands like Glossier, Rare Beauty, e.l.f., Tower 28, which offered effortless skin-first vibes, which back then, too, Anastasia never really got her skin right. They were never really a skin foundation brand.
The stick foundations, the pot concealers back in the day were so...
No.
Everything was goopy and dry, and like it was either goopy goop wet or dry sticks.
Absolutely.
There was no in between, and they couldn't ever pinpoint it.
Because we didn't even get the Luminous Skin, right? Luminous Skin Foundation, I think it was. I love that. That was like 2022, not 20, like going back to 2019, really? 2020. Yeah, that was relatively newer-ish. They were never a good skin brand back then. And great point that it really was like skin first vibes. ABH branding began to feel outdated compared to more inclusive, mission-driven newcomers. And that's a big thing too now. It's like, I feel like, especially with going after Gen Z audiences and et cetera, it's like, think about brands like Glossier and Rare Beauty. Everything is like selling, I got a feeling. Like everything is like about a
moment. How can
if you wear this, you're that kind of girl.
You're going to feel this way.
Exactly. It was like this very clean girl, like just mission, like, I'm buying this, and I'm like, Rare Beauty was all mental health, and Glossier was very
the girl on the go in Chelsea.
Absolutely, like it was very had a feeling behind it.
100%. Yeah.
Now 2024 and 2025, still widely stocked in Ulta, Sephora, and international retailers. Recently reformulated dip brow and brow products. I didn't know that.
I didn't know that either.
To keep up with trend towards fluffier laminated looks. That brow. Soap lift whatever the
brow
clear
freeze.
Brow freeze where it's all brown.
That makes my brows itch. I put it on, I'm like, what's in here? It makes my brows itchy.
Yes.
That ain't right.
Release more natural looking palettes and complexion products, but with much less hype than before. I don't know about more natural looking complexion products, but natural looking palettes.
What natural looking palette are you? Not the Fall Romance, not Miss Nouveau, not Miss Wisteria.
Wisteria Lane.
Girl, that's what it was. It was like these, and Cosmic, whatever they were called. Like, that's not...
Aren't they like 9-pan palettes now or something? Like
they're,
square?
12. They're pressed pigments, a lot of them. Which...
How natural? To stain my lid.
I don't know. Like, there was like... Okay, I wouldn't call them natural.
No.
And that's where even Norvina fell. I remember that at the time when Norvina was at its, I would say, on the steady decline.
Yeah.
They had to come in, the Anastasia rep, who was then in charge of Norvina as well, of course, had to come in with a roll of stickers.
Yeah.
And she had to put stickers on every single Norvina palette saying face and body pigments, that they were not intended for the eyes. They had to quite literally put a sticker on every palette because I think they were saying these were for the eyes. And I mean, go back to the Huda Beauty lawsuit of the neons, which I got my settlement.
Which how could you get rid of the iconic shape of what they were? And if we went to, we're doing where they're like more square and jumbo-y sometimes, or she's coming out with those like square palettes,
the mini
minis.
palettes with 9 colors.
Like
the sugar and spice palettes for holiday were disgusting.
Girl. Like, it's just, I don't know. It's so sad in that regard. And then ABH has not completely disappeared, but it has definitely lost its dominance. The public perception is viewed that the brand had its era. Legendary, but no longer leading. Younger consumers don't feel emotionally attached to ABH the way millennials did. Very true.
So true.
Very true.
Very true, bestie.
Huge if true. As well, Norvina remains a polarizing figure. Some admire her artistry and connection to fans. Others believe her leadership contributed to the brand's decline due to a lack of focus and brand dilution.
I think there's something to say to that, especially with newer consumers coming into Sephora, that I feel like a lot of them are brand loyal to a certain degree. But I feel like I feel like Gen Z does, gravitate towards certain brands.
Yeah.
But I feel like they're even more vocal about the brands they don't want.
Yes.
Than the brands they do.
And I think the millennial thing is a great point because the legacy of Anastasia really is from our era of makeup. However, we're all 9 years older than we were in their heyday. And, your average consumer that bought Anastasia to do 2016 cut crease makeup with their Anastasia palette is now 35 years old. They're going in and they're not looking for bold palettes or crazy thing. Like they're not looking for what Anastasia has anymore. And now Anastasia is trying to come out with things like other brands, but they've delayed doing so for 10 years that even millennials now are brand loyal to other brands, where I have moved on to other things that work better for me at 33 years old, where there's no product from Anastasia that I have to still have. It's everything like Tarte.
I've replaced everything.
Exactly.
Do I still grab a few things here and there if I have it? And I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
Ironically, today, for the first time in a long time, I'm wearing their concealer. And I'm like, all right.
Yeah.
And what?
Yes.
I like other things better now.
Exactly.
And it's so funny that they were so one way for so long. And I feel like if they were still the way they were in 2018, 2019 with the Norvina and the Anastasia, the modern Renaissance and all of those palettes and all that whole vibe, I feel like that's what they want now. People are looking for more colorful palettes again. Yeah. So I don't even want to say it was ahead of its time with Anastasia because I don't think they even knew. They were trying to do everything, have their hand in every single pot.
Yes.
Be in the artistry perspective, be in the the regal brow, and then also the everyday girl that wants soft glam, but also have modern Renaissance for the little extra, and then octopus arms.
Yes.
They were going 8 different directions.
Yes.
And then now what people want is what they had then.
Yeah.
So if they were true to their identity, which they always claimed they were.
Yes.
And now it feels like I don't know who they're making makeup for anymore.
Absolutely.
They're not making makeup for consumers. I think they're making it for themselves.
Well, and that's where, and I don't know, let me know if you guys agree with me. When I worked there, like I always had the vibe from Anastasia, like the feeling they even curated in their heyday. It was a little Mean Girls-y. It was a little like the girl who wore all Anastasia, or like, how do I put it? Because it's not judgment on the girl. It's judgment of the identity the brand wanted to project. And even if you think about the names of products, it was Ashley and Caitlin and Heather and Samantha. It wasn't like these like super all over the globe names. It was very, let me be frank, it was very like hot, sexy, white, popular girl cheerleading captain was the vibe they wanted to curate. It was like Heather's, like it was very Regina George. And that was very indicative back then of where I think even people like you and I, obviously being gay guys, we gravitated towards Manny and Patrick and Jeffrey at the time. But even if I watched girls, it was people like Allie or Tati before ... But I never gravitated, how do I say it? I'm just going to say these names and put this out into the ether. I never watched the Carly Bibles And the girl, you know what the girls that I know, if they met me in high school, would have like spit on me, like just laughed at me. And many of them, even on their YouTube channels, were showing off their mansions with their husband that looked like the quarterback of the high school football team. Like that was the image Anastasia curated.
Yeah.
And that girl that was all just
girl makeup,
blush tones and everything, where I feel like Gen Z is not about that. They are Billie Eilish.
They want expressive makeup.
Alt girl.
But yeah, they want the expressive.
They're the alternative, like Billie Eilish,
a little more free-spirited and not as structured of like this is how I think and I will not think another way. They're very open-minded and they're open to many possibilities, and that's what they want with when they're consuming a product. They're like, okay, I have this thing, and it could be this more free thing where I'm not being told, like where Anastasia, it always came down to this. And I think, do you remember when Anastasia Sawar went on fucking Drag Race?
Yes.
And it was All Stars when they did the mom's brows, when they made over like people from their family.
Yes, I do.
And Anastasia was doing someone's mother's brows. And she was like, when you're older, you don't do your brows like this. And then she goes, well, she has no brows, so we're going to give her. Like, she was just very
rude
and condescending towards your consumer.
Yes.
You're making them feel bad about themselves, so they buy your product and will only buy your product because it's the only product that will do that.
And that's very much, that was listen, if anyone watching this or listening to this is over the age of like 29, our era the longer you go back, that was the marketing strategy of makeup, was we're hot and popular. You're not, you need what we have on. Good luck. It was, and that was very much the branding and the feeling of the brand, where I never super gravitated towards it because I didn't feel that way. Mm-hmm. And I feel like they're trying to hold on to that. They've always tried to hold on to that aesthetic still, but Gen Z consumers and even millennials now or older have all kind of adopted this mentality of like shedding that judgmental aura and gravitating towards brands with a message or a purpose or a feeling of comfort around it, like very much like Glossier or Tower 28 or Rare Beauty, like where Rare Beauty is more of a, I will say, more of a old fashioned kind of a makeup or old maiden type of, but like more of a straightforward makeup brand where they have something in every category. It works very well. It's not like Glossier, like goopy lip, cheek, eye,
cloud,
butthole, cloud paints. Uncut gems down here.
No.
And the consumer, when buying Rare Beauty, feels the connection to what Rare Beauty does.
The message.
It's getting donated to mental health. It's the feeling of the brand is very comforting, where it was always very intimidating back in that day. And I just feel like they haven't learned how to adapt. Okay, speaking of makeup fails, so we're both, my makeup looked okay. I shouldn't have done I was just going to throw on a little eyeliner. And why, when one eye starts tearing, is it just, it's a wrap? And sometimes I can tear and wipe, but this will happen every now and again where it will tear so relentlessly and consistent that me just literally dabbing and wiping will literally like make the skin, you saw this in there, like raw, that you watched me try to put House Labs eye paint, a pencil eyeliner, a pot gel, and black eyeshadow. It wouldn't stick to this area as if I was trying to put it on an open flesh wound. And it wasn't dry. I powdered it, everything.
It was complete. No, it was dry.
It was dry. Sorry, yes.
It was completely dry.
And powdered it.
And I could not believe that even when you took the black shadow and then you went to go put more, it made it wet and then dragged up. You wet the brush.
Like, and honestly, guys, like, and we're here to tell you, this is the episode where, like, I think we should talk about things that happen that, like, this is the thing about makeup. We would love to tell you, like, this is the fix. And I'm sure, like, we were even in there, like, put a gripping primer or an eyeshadow primer. Guys, sometimes something happens with your makeup where you're fucked. Like, and there's nothing you can do. And I literally all I did, because when it first happened, it was so evident that it was like, my perfect foundation and then cracked out like red, juicy skin underneath. That was so I just was going like this, like tapping my, the edge of the foundation line to kind of feather it. So it wasn't a hard line. And then in this, though, I started doing the wing over here, and I could not put a wing on this side. So uncut gems. Uncut gems.
Yeah.
I just put gems.
You have to
cover
pivot sometimes.
Girl, that's what. Go to Michael's. Get yourself a pack of sticky gems and cover the sins.
And I feel like this always used to happen to me when I worked in like Sephora and stuff, when I was getting ready for work, and I knew I didn't have like, sometimes when I'm getting ready for this, I know I have a little bit of time and flexibility to sometimes, fix my mistake. But I remember getting ready for work. That's where all of the mishaps happened. And then I was like, how do we fix this? Because I'm not doing it. So I remember one of my favorite ones, and it happened so bad one day. I knew there was the point of no return. To the point of no return. I was putting on liquid liner. I was putting on my Sephora collection liquid liner that dries pretty quick. And I remember I was in such a rush. I looked down at my phone and like looked up in the mirror at something. And I was like, I put my head down and then looked up. I was like,
mascara.
My eyeliner completely transferred to a half moon in my crease.
Oh, when it hits the top.
And it was a solid black line. It was all wet still.
Can we really acknowledge, like, kudos to brands for that not being as bad of a thing as it was 10 years ago? Can we all acknowledge that? There was rarely a liner, even when if it did dry down 10 years ago, if it dried down and you were good, if you got a little hot and worked up and a little sweaty.
Mascaras used to do it for me.
I would be working at Sephora. The liner was dry, came to work, whole 9 yards. And then I would look in the mirror 8 hours later and the black line. That really doesn't happen anymore. Thank God.
That used to happen to me with, like, I used to clean up my brows with concealer, set it with powder all around so it was dry. And I would put mascara on, let that dry, completely do setting spray, all the nine, then go through my day about 3-4 hours in. Usually by the time I was going to break, I would look in the mirror and I had soft gray lines for my mascara. And I was like, what the fuck? So I would literally have to take my fingers and blend it away, repowder.
Yes.
And then by the end of my shift, another 4 or 5 hours later, it was the same thing again. And I said, I can't keep doing this.
I know.
I'm in a temperature controlled environment and this is happening.
Corporate air conditioning.
I can't, and mind you, sometimes I got a little warm in there. But I wasn't running miles. I was bending and filling. I was ringing people up. I was doing a makeover. And this shit was like embarrassing.
I know.
But the day I had the line of like in my crease, I literally looked at myself and said, oh, fuck. Because then I had to put more black liner on, and I literally did. Liner. I made a graphic liner, so I drew it out and did the whole thing. Then I had to go on this side, and I said, how am I going to do it? I drew the line, immediately looked up.
Girl, put it on.
Looked up. I literally head down, eyes up. Did the same thing.
You know what I'm remembering? Do you remember the Nikki tutorials thing we all used to do of drawing concealer along and the inside lash line and then like exorcist, like go looking up and it would make the half moon.
I just did that to my friend when I did her makeup.
Yeah?
Because I was
I forgot about that.
I was in such a rush because that day I was like, I know I have to get her ready.
Yeah.
And it's so funny. On Patreon, there's a video coming out of everything I packed for her that day. Mm-hmm. And it was so fascinating. Even going through that was so fun. Because doing like your best friend's makeup, I was packing all my own stuff because I'm like,
shit you can't use on clients.
I would never, ever, ever fucking do that ever.
Yeah.
But I was doing all that. And then that day I was running late and I put the concealer and I said, look up for me. Yeah. And she was like,
yeah.
And then she looked up and I was like, keep it there. And I said, I was like, almost like take your lashes and push them. But she literally perfect thing. Yeah. And I went and cleaned up that cut crease, blended that in because she wanted a more defined like cut crease. I was like, work.
Even when I didn't want a cut crease, like even the way your eyeshadow is where you have more of the brighter green on the inside. I used to still do that like that.
And blend the edge.
I would take a fluffy brush and blend it as if it was eyeshadow because it would I forgot about that.
And doing it with like the P. Louise bases.
Yes.
Oh, those P. Louise bases used to turn me out. They were the first thing that finally kept my eyeshadow on because no other primer did it for me.
Yeah.
And I wasn't, the concealers at the time weren't keeping it on either.
No.
So I really.
But you're right. The eyeliner, and that's why we all had to use, I feel like it's taken millennials and older like a lot of time to like trust non-waterproof mascaras because there was so few that wouldn't be everywhere. would transfer with like a little sweat or heat. Like
and I'm so burned from it. I still use tubing mascara. Like, and I've gotten more into tubing mascara. I'm so into tubing right now. And I really like, that's why I love tubing mascaras, because they really, when I understood what they were and saw that it wasn't doing that, your concealer could be wet on your lids and that black is not going anywhere until you take warm water to it. So I was like, that's incredible.
I know.
I was like, why doesn't everybody have this formula and everyone should be doing this? Yeah. This is so genius.
Yeah.
But now I feel like every brand is coming out with tubing mascaras, which is lovely. And I adore it. But oh my God, the amount of times.
Even the other day, update on, because neither of us, we both bought the House Labs highlighters, the stick.
Yeah, the glassy highlighters.
And
I was like, huh?
Yeah, we're comparing them to the L'Oreal, I think. I might have did that on
the
Patreon.
Glass,
which one I like better. I really haven't gotten to dive into the House Labs yet, but you wore it.
Wasn't
that last week's episode?
Yesterday.
Yeah, so that would be on last week's episode.
Yeah, so I will say, I was putting her to the test because I put a little bit on, and what I did, because I no swipey right on the skin. I was taking it on my middle finger, and I was just kind of then tapping it in over my highlighted areas, and I said, okay, but I said how these models are wearing it on the website. They're wearing a lot, so I'm gonna put a lot.
Yes,
and I put a generous amount.
Yes,
I wore it for maybe 2 hours, and it was okay.
Yeah,
pretty good. Third, fourth hour when I was, because really by the time I was done with my makeup, and I got here, and then we started to like really get ready to come in here, looked in that mirror, up to my concealer,
she was traveling.
It was
rolling on the river,
like
river. It looked goopy. It looked like it was melting.
It was quite literally re-wetting my concealer and powder, meshing all of that color together, and then even my blush was starting to travel, and it was just all like,
and then we went in the room after, and or no, was that before?
Because we were filming multiple things yesterday.
So in between us filming yesterday, you went in the room, and then what did you do? Did you touch it, or did you?
I went to go try and like almost just soften that
like tap,
because it was getting a little weirdly gray.
Yes,
on that line. So I was like, it was the clear, by the way. I started to tap just where it was starting to, create the wrinkles in my concealer. And I tapped it through, and without exaggeration, I tapped it and it lifted everything.
It took his foundation off in the shape of his finger.
And
we had to do a patch job.
Sure. Yeah. Took a little bit of powder and just started to tap it. The surrounding glassiness and whatever the fermented arnica that was left over darkened that powder so yellow in one little patch. I said, I quit. I said, I'm not doing this right now. I don't have the time. I don't want to deal with this.
Yes.
And I had to go back in with another foundation powder and a concealer.
I think you put foundation powder on, which turned yellow, but then you just packed a bunch of blush on top because it was a warm. It was like a peachy blush.
A cream blush.
And then in the spot, you could still kind of see you did a blinding, the Benefit highlighter, the Glow La La, to kind of just give you one sleek thing, and it covered the thing. You got the texture, always smooth out the crack, and then you have to work.
Well, honestly, I tried.
I know, smooth out the crack.
Yeah,
and then try to just cover it the best you can.
And I feel like, what I should even try with the House Labs, and maybe a tip, because I actually thought maybe in a perfect world, I sprayed the L'Oreal over the House Labs, hoping it would almost like seal it on top, being that it is more of a coating. Yeah. I'm almost wondering if you sprayed the L'Oreal on first and then let that fully dry to what it is, and maybe a little extra up here, and then put
on
the House
top
Labs
of the
over
L'Oreal
that,
setting spray,
since it's waterproof.
Yeah,
and
or is that going to cause it to just run off like it's on top of cellophane?
Because because I feel like it's not
like my gems.
Like it's not oily, but it has.
Yeah,
she's got fermented arnica and jojoba oil.
That's why I don't know, girl.
I don't know.
I'm Team L'Oreal with the Lumi Glass, because I actually can paint that right on my skin and it doesn't remove anything, and I think it wears. I had every time I've worn that L'Oreal Lumi Glass, the dupe even though it came out first for House Labs, gorgeous, never broke anything up, and it's not as thick. Like, I almost feel like if I tried, like if we did a lighter test where we like held a lighter underneath both products, I feel like House Labs would melt quicker because it's like waxier or something. It's more face glossy.
It is 100% more face glossy.
Where L'Oreal Lumi Glass feels like a very innovative, more bound formula.
Because it's quite literally thinner.
Yeah.
Where House Labs, when I was taking it and looking at it on my finger, it was like a lot of product.
Where I remember when I had them both on one side, I remember you liking House Labs better because you said it had more glow and it had more shine. And that's, I think, because of the thickness. But if it means that, I'd rather go with L'Oreal.
Face gloss, literally clear gloss, the milk one.
Elf. Yeah.
And then putting that on top, your makeup was being timed.
You might as well put Elemis cleansing balm on top of your makeup.
And just
and wait for it to melt off.
Spray the one size go off spray and then just go to work.
Go to work.
Because it was just not it.
Girl.
I'm gonna because even like eyes, lips, and cheeks, not on that eyeshadow. No, you're not. No, you are not.
Eyeshadow, girl. I need to take this makeup off because
you look like Gaga with the curls on her face that were melting.
And I was gonna fucking film like shorts on Saturday. This better I'm gonna put like CeraVe. I combined CeraVe and healing. CeraVe healing ointment like on it, like tap it and let
I would gently.
And I got to take my contacts out. And I hate wearing contacts.
I would be very gentle on that side with fragrance in whatever product you use around your eye.
Oh, not liquid eyeliner, gel eyeliner, and gems and glue stickers. Good thing I didn't put eyeshadow glue, eyelash glue. Because you're in this open, what is happening? Like, and it's just my eye tearing. And my eyes have been, again, that's an old thing, bitch. I'm like getting to, my mom showed me something the other day at dinner. And I literally I was like going like this. It's not right. Like I'm zooming in on things and my eyes, like when we're in bed at night, me and Casey, we have air conditioning, but New Jersey's like a nice 9500 degrees. So we have a box fan on us too, but we have it up like on a table so that it like hits us in the bed. And when we're watching TV, it's like blowing at us, but gently.
Eyes. Dry
I'm wiping away. He asked me, he was like, he thought I was crying one night because I'm sitting there every 5 seconds going like this because it's making my eyes water.
Yeah, girl, that's too much.
Girl,
you're jumping out of planes doing parachuting with that wind in your face. Turn it off.
But it's not that aggressive. It's literally so light pressure.
I know, but try putting it on the floor facing up towards the ceiling because that'll blow the air up and down.
Yeah. Girl, just call Shady Pines. See if they got some room for me. Thank you guys so much for watching another episode of Beautiful and Bothered. Make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel and Spotify and Apple Podcasts, where we have a new episode every single Sunday. Leave us a 5-star review on Spotify and Apple Podcast if you can. And subscribe to Patreon. So much stuff over there. And happy end of Pride Month.
Yes.
30th, wherever you are. We hope you are happy, safe, and healthy. And remember
that it's the 29th and you are beautiful.
Book! I want my book.